This year is the 20th anniversary of the Congressional Pig Book. I want to thank you all very much for joining us. I want to certainly point out that after Congress has approved $700 billion for the bank bailout, $862 billion for the stimulus, $3.6 trillion budget, $1.4 trillion deficit, there's a little bit of good news for taxpayers. Earmarks are reduced from fiscal year 2009. The 2010 Congressional Pig Book shows 9,129 projects, which is a 10.2% decrease from the 10,160 in fiscal year 2009, and $16.5 billion in earmarks, which is a 15.5% decrease from the $19.6 billion in fiscal year 2009. So while it's good news, it's still above the historical average, and it's still not at the level that President Obama promised when he took office, which is $7.8 billion. And not only would everyone standing with me here today prefer that it be zero earmarks, every taxpayer would also like that to disappear.
You have made a difference. You have made a difference in the debate. You have given us ammunition to use when we go home to talk to our constituents and make them understand how pernicious and how corrupting this process of earmarking is. You know, it's interesting, Tom, this morning that you would be unveiling our 20th Pig Book because in Boston, thousands of people are gathered in a tea party this morning. Thousands and thousands of people, and tomorrow, all over America, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, will be gathering in different places all over America in outrage and saying they've had enough. They're frustrated, they're tired. They're tired of taxes, and they're tired of the wasteful, unnecessary, corrupting influence of earmarking and wasteful spending.
Citizens Against Government Waste have been paying attention for 26 years and 20 years to publish the Pig Booklet. And I want to commend you, Tom, and CAGW for the wonderful work that you're doing. If this weren't so serious, it would be humorous. The highlighted the projects that we all take delight in exposing, but this is serious, serious stuff. And this book's gotten bigger, yes. It's gotten more colorful, yes, hopefully to draw more attention to it. But the American people understand that what goes on here in Washington from a pork barrel standpoint, from an earmarking standpoint, is a process that is corrupt, and it's corrupting.
There are a lot of folks now in Congress, Republican and Democrats, who are arguing that earmarks don't add anything to the budget. It just allows Congress to direct it rather than the executive branch. This is a bunch of baloney. We spend money here to a large degree because earmarks are the engine that pull the train. Almost every bill has some kind of kickback. Irrespective of the price tag of the earmark, what it does is it buys votes. And if any senior member of our conference or this Congress wants to pass a bill, they use earmarks. They sprinkle them around like candy. So the folks now who are saying they don't drive spending or add to our budget, frankly, are just not telling the truth.
As a family physician, I've seen how small things, seemingly insignificant symptoms, often indicate more serious and sometimes fatal disease. Proponents of earmarks argue that pork barrel spending only represents a small fraction of a much larger budget. The simple truth is, earmarks are major symptoms or minor symptoms of serious waste, fraud, and abuse, and corruption here in Washington, D.C.
Counting earmarks is not a pleasant task, and CAGW has been doing it for a long time and very effectively. A few of us were commenting before that we didn't think we'd see the day, certainly not a few years ago, when the House Republicans at least would stand and say and call for a complete moratorium, and that there'll be no Republican earmarks in appropriation bills this year. That's a great thing. On the Democratic side, they've said no earmarks for for-profit companies. That's a great start. I should point out that there are many so-called nonprofit, better word would be tax-exempt companies that receive earmarks. Some of them have revenues in excess of $1 billion a year. It's all well and good to have a member's name next to an earmark, and these are good reforms that we've been able to enact in the last couple of years. But unless members can actually challenge those earmarks on the floor of the House or in committee, it's of little use. And last year, we had every appropriation bill come to the floor under a closed rule. And so just a fraction of the earmark amendments that we wanted to offer could be offered. And we need to make sure this year that we have open rules on appropriation bills.
Our founders gave the power of the purse to Congress so that we would control the spending of the executive branch, not so that we could multiply it with politically directed parochial projects.
The Pig Book is of critical importance. It provides us with the specific and concrete examples of what's wrong with Washington and what needs to be done. There's a peaceful revolution going on out there. It will be manifested in a lot of different ways between now and next November. But the Pig Book and bringing attention and the Citizens Against Government waste who continuously work tirelessly on behalf of the American taxpayer, I'm very grateful, and I'm very grateful for the participation of my colleagues.